all have an immune system, which is a very complex tool that is protecting us in 3 different ways. The first one is by fighting pathogens to avoid bad infections. The second one is to establish an equilibrium with the bacteria and other bugs we have on our skin, in our gut. So it's a kind of symbiosis. And the third is to avoid autoimmunity, because we control unwanted immune response against ourselves. So in this context, what is wrong with these patients with autoinflammation and somehow rheumatological disorders is that the one big segment of immunity, which is innate immunity, mostly implemented by phagocytic cells like neutrophils and macrophages, they are overreacting, either because their own system is permanently on, so they are always activated, or they are hyperactive to any stimulus, or alternatively because the inhibitory, so the off signals, are defective. So this is the basic explanation for the occurrence of these genetically determined autoinflammatory syndromes. In the context of rheumatological disorders, it's not so well known up to now, but it could be a combination of what I just said, but also combined with autoimmunity, so direct response of either T lymphocytes and or B lymphocytes to self-antigens, especially within joints.
My name is Frédéric, my wife Christine, our daughter Camille, she's 14 years old, and we have a son, Antoine, which is 17 years old. So Camille has a condition which is called SINCA syndrome, which is an inflammatory syndrome, a rare disease, nearly 1/1 million average. So the first symptoms was she born at 7 months and Christine has a cesarean delivery, because Camille was in a very bad state. She has a cutaneous rash, she has a heart disease, she has a very high inflammatory level, many bad symptoms. And well, she born with all that symptoms, and when she born, doctors and us doesn't know what was happening.
Quand Camille est née, elle avait des douleurs articulaires très importantes. On pouvait à peine la toucher. Un urticaire sur tout le corps qui était un jour là, le lendemain pas. Donc c'était assez perturbant. Et puis une atteinte digestive, c'est-à-dire un ventre douloureux et une digestion très, très difficile. Du coup, l'alimentation était compliquée. Voilà, c'était les 3 symptômes les plus importants.
So Camille arrived in January. She spent 2 months and a half in Grenoble, in neonatologic. We tried to go back home 2 times. It doesn't work. Camille was too bad. She cannot eat. She cannot grow. She has difficulties to breathe. So we go back to Grenoble, and then in hospital in Grenoble, they say you have to go to Paris, to Necker, the hospital for children in Paris, to try the objective to understand what was happening. So Camille arrives in the services of Professor Fischer, with Dr. Cartier, Dr. Neven, Dr. Mossus. And in Necker, they found what was the problem. They identified the genetical problem. So they can put a name on the condition of Camille, which was perhaps one we were waiting for weeks and weeks to have this answer, to put a name on the condition, and then once the condition is named, they told us that they have a treatment, perhaps not a perfect one, but nearly perfect.
So the Sinca syndrome is a multi-systemic autoinflammatory disorder, which is rare, but still it's there. It's genetically determined with dominant inheritance, autosomal dominant inheritance, and it is causing recurrent fevers associated with many other symptoms like eruption, skin eruption, arthralgias, or even abnormalities of the knees. And they have problems with the eye, like uveitis, for instance, and more importantly, they may develop chronic meningitis and hydrocephaly, which is by far the most important symptom, and this is all overall associated with fatigue. The disease has an early onset, so in the absence of a treatment is a quite perturbing situation to have this Sinca syndrome. And today we understand the pathophysiology because it has been found, actually in part here, by people working here, that what is not working well is that they have an innate immune system that is used physiologically to fight infections that is on almost permanently. So, and this is called NLRP3, the so-called inflammasome. So this is a complex of molecules that is formed upon activation and that drives the production, to simplify, of one key product of inflammation, that is interleukin-1.
Alors, Camille a eu donc à partir de 3 mois un traitement d'anakinra avec 2 injections par jour. Ce traitement a été délivré par l'hôpital Necker. Camille était une des premières patientes si jeune à recevoir ce traitement. Il a fallu augmenter les doses petit à petit jusqu'à ce que le traitement soit efficace et donc que Camille retrouve un confort dans sa vie, aille mieux. Et du coup, elle avait 2 injections par jour jusqu'à 3 ans et demi. Et à 3 ans et demi, nous avons changé de traitement. Une injection de canakinumab. On a commencé la même chose en tâtonnant un petit peu pour les dosages. Actuellement, elle a une injection tous les 6 jours. Et voilà, et on a adapté avec sa croissance le dosage du traitement. Et les observations, les prises de sang nous ont aidés à savoir exactement le dosage nécessaire pour qu'elle aille très bien.
Yes, the explanation they use, it was Dr. Mossus in Necker. We use this explanation. She said that the treatment is a miracle. The effects are incredible, and it was true. With all the symptoms she has, it was impossible to imagine that everything can disappear with one injection. One injection, 6 hours later, and she was okay.
No, I don't feel like malade because I go to the school like everybody. I practice activity, horse riding, swimming, skiing.
In terms of transition, we doesn't plan anything for the moment. We have to wait. We have to wait another 2 years We have to wait 16 years old for Camille to start to plan this transition. We talked about that with a doctor in Grenoble, and yes, for the moment we have to wait. So for that period, we hope that we will have the same quality of relation with Medical Corp as now.
So in France, the transition care for patients with rare disease or chronic diseases is more and more organized around 18 years old, with usually shared consultation with both the pediatrician and the adult physician, and also the parents, obviously. This moment is very critical to ensure that everyone involved in the care of the teenager is fully aligned in terms of knowledge and perspectives. So La Suite here at the Necker Hospital is an innovative and comprehensive program working with also the adult hospitals in Paris, because obviously this is about transitioning the patients to an adult facility. And we here at La Suite have a team of people who are fully dedicated on that topic of transitioning patients with rare diseases and also chronic diseases here at Necker. We build this framework on top of what already exists in the reference centers for each rare disease that we have here, which is basically half of the rare diseases known so far. 4,000 rare diseases are followed here in Necker. So we have a team of a medical gynecologist, a socio-esthetician, body image counselor, psychologist. We also provide therapeutic relaxation by psychologists here for children and teenagers who have a chronic pain or chronic anxiety. We also have adapted physical activity for patients who are, let's say, transplanted or have some kind of obesity or other heart problems, for example, or lung problems. We also provide training in terms of patient education for their treatment, so the compliance of treatment or understanding more about their treatment. So we want them to come here as they are. They are young people before being young patients. The transition period is very emotional for the patients, for the parents, sometimes also for the healthcare professionals, like the doctors and the nurses. Most of the time, patients and the families, they don't want to leave the pediatric setting. And what we have to do is to reassure them about the fact that it's natural, it's actually good news, and everything will be all right because we work together with our adult colleagues.